the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms, including YouTube at Keys to the City. Brand new hoodies. We just put out the first order. For the second order, if people still want some, blue and black, it seems like black is the very popular choice right now. They are nice hoodies. They're comfortable and they're very nice.
We also had a special request for Breast Cancer Month, a pink hoodie. So if you wanted a pink hoodie with the white Keys to the City lettering for breast cancer, we can do that. Absolutely. Also, if you're in the neighborhood of West Haven, New Haven, anywhere in the New Haven County, and you're looking for some landscaping ideas, call the Few Good Guys.
Few Good Guys.
Oh, the wrong hand.
Whoop. Come on, bro. Come on. You know it's opposite. Few Good Guys. But yes, got a Few Good Guys. Got the hoodies. If you want it, second order is going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. They're going hot, so let us know. So let's start. You know what's not been hot this year? And Joseph Aguirre, come on and join us right now. I know you're there. I know you're hiding. There he is. You know what's not been hot? It's the New York Giants and the New York Giants team as a whole and the New York Giants franchise as a whole. If you really think about it, this is not just this year. This is just it feels like a culmination of the past, since 2011, the 12 season of the Super Bowl days. We had that one glorious year. This is the second time the Giants have been 0-5 in the past 4 seasons. Also in 2017.
I'm surprised by that. I would have thought it was more.
The same thing. So something's got, like I said last week with Giants and Dallas, because both teams have been very bad this year, have underperformed one of them, and one's just been garbage. So let's get into this week. Something's got to give this week, because we are playing the Washington football team, who right now I know is 1-4 and is only a half a game back. And remember, the NFC East, that godforsaken division right now.
You know, the Giants win this week.
Giants win, and the Eagles have a tough matchup against the Ravens. So, just saying.
And the Cowboys on Monday
against the Cardinals, and then the Giants beat the. I mean, it's crazy circumstances going on in the NFC East. Just kind of the culmination of this year at 2020. But you look at it, something's got to give. They beat the Washington team last year. They dominated. This was Daniel Jones' one of his better games last year.
This is probably his best game.
Well, he had the Tampa game. Don't forget, he was amazing in his rookie debut against Tampa.
But statistically wise, that Washington game, what did he have, 5 touchdowns?
So did against
no
Tampa.
Picks. He had 4 touchdowns, no picks. Over
Tampa had 5 touchdowns, I believe. I believe he had 5 touchdowns. We can get that stat. He had 5 touchdowns as well as 300 and close to 40 yards passing, or 350 close to it. But this is not ordinary for Daniel Jones. He's been very good against really poor competition. And last week could be said as well, boys. Something's got to give. If the Giants lose this game and start 0-6, and Joe, if you can find the schedule, one of us find the schedule, when will be the next time the Giants are a possibility of winning? So Daniel Jones and his team, Joe Judge, trying to get their first win of the season against a really bad team. Guys, what happens if the Giants, Ted, I'll start with you because you are my co-host. What happens if the Giants lose to Washington?
Do you want to know the games, or you want my opinion right now, quick?
Give me your opinion. I'll look it up.
So here you go. It's Washington this week. Eagles, Buccaneers, Washington, Eagles, Bengals.
So the Giants have a possibility of winning one of those games.
So in the next 4 weeks, they got to play Washington twice, so they should win one of them.
Can we get Washington?
So the expectation of most Giant fans is to win this week, right? Yep. The Giants should be the better team. After what you saw last week's performance, there was effort. The offense looked good. We scored 34 points. Though we still make the same mistakes.
I don't think there's ever been an effort issue with this team.
Not so far.
San Francisco game. Maybe that one game, but
you just said there was no effort. So
every game has been effort.
Yeah, but the same issues that we just continue.
And we always say, effort. Ah, you like it too.
Who says? What are you talking about? What do you mean? We say effort. Is that what we're looking for? A good effort?
That's my point.
Like hand grenades.
No, you just said they had a great effort last week. We know that. It's been all year they've had great efforts, but they just haven't put together a freaking win. That's the problem.
Well, here's a perfect example.
They haven't put together a complete game yet. That's the reason they haven't won one.
True. I believe it was 17-10 at the time, and someone might probably correct me, but the Giants had just crossed over like midfield, the 45-yard line, and they got a first down. And the next play we go, you know what? We've been running the ball for about 5 yards a carry. I believe at the time Devontae Freeman had like 6 carries for 30 yards. And what do we do on first down? We run a rollout pass. Thomas gets beats around, sack, fumble, miraculously goes right into the gentleman's hand on Dallas Cowboys number 37 and he runs it for a touchdown. It's a tie game. And I go, you're running the ball for 5 yards a carry. Why change it? We're moving the ball. We're having great success. Why get pass happy when you don't need to? If you learned anything from the Cleveland Browns this year is when they run the ball first and run the ball second and pass on third, they're winning football games. They're 4-1. They've won the last 4. This Giant team, we were having success last week. Now, I'm not going to beat up last week, whatever. I thought the Dallas team should have won anyways because they were the better team. But you know what? The Giants were the better team this week. So that means the Giants should win. Now, I said beforehand, the Giants, it all stems from the quarterback. I read a stat before, and I'll get it out of the post to make sure I'm correct. Jones has not thrown a touchdown pass in his past 4 games. Well, in a league where touchdown passes are flying left and right, that's an issue. Number 2, he's thrown 5 interceptions and lost 3 fumbles, and that's 14 in his career. He has 31 turnovers in his last 17 games. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. He's got 1 win in his last 15 games. That's another problem. Now, you could say, Ted, what about the offensive line? They suck. They've had injuries. Their defense is awful. You can't make excuses. You got to find ways to win the game.
And Joe, same excuses
and,
as well.
and this will lead right into I'll lead this right into Joe's point of what he told us before. Joe, you told me something about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has had opportunities to win games in the 4th quarter.
Please give us that.
And he's failed.
Very fascinating stat that you found.
In his 17 starts, 8 of them, so just about half of his starts, he has had the final possession of the football game where he could win or tie. He's converted twice. Tampa and Washington last year. Those are the first Washington game. Those are the only games where he's come back and won it. So, look, to me, I think if there's a takeaway from last week's game, it's that there was 1 3-and-out last week.
That's positivity.
I mean, a step in the right direction because, look, you can't keep having 40-20 splits on time of possession and think you're going to win football games.
Well, how many can you point signs to that Dallas's defense is just really that bad? I mean, we know they look great.
I don't care whether it's Dallas's defense or the Giants' offense. Maybe it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
What I had seen, though, in the first 4 games was about half of the Giants' drives were 3-and-outs. And it, generally speaking, if you go back and look, generally when a team scored on a Giants on a long drive or even on a short drive, 5 plays, 75 yards, it always preceded a 3-and-out. Yeah. And every time this happens, or worse, and you'll see a lot of this too with the Giants. If you go back through the box scores, Giants have a 3-and-out, defense has a 3-and-out, get the ball back, the other team finally scores. I mean, the Giants defense has played remarkably well, given everything.
The Giants defense was 5th, and I was like, I am a true Giant fan. I know everything about the Giants. Okay, so you're not gonna fool me or think you don't know the game. Trust me, I know the game and I watch it. I was shocked to realize that their defense was 5th.
I've been sending you stats. Their defense is one of the better defenses of the league so far in these first 5 weeks.
And they probably be even better if you take the San Francisco game.
Can I say something that you might call me crazy about, and that's fine? Because I usually am the crazy one on this show and makes the crazy remarks. I compared Daniel Jones, aside from his off-field tactics and the way his personality is, kind of on the same trajectory of a Baker Mayfield. Now, we remember, Baker Mayfield, listen, I knew it. Listen, Baker Mayfield's rookie, listen, please, Ted, maybe you'll understand. You had a couple of times where you looked at me crazy and said, oh, that's not bad. Listen to the smart guy sometimes. So his rookie season, remember Baker Mayfield broke the rookie record, and we all finally thought that, oh, my God, the Browns finally found a franchise quarterback. Now in year 3, we're having the questions of, is he going to be the quarterback next year? It's year 3. It's year 3.
4 because they have to pick up their fifth-year option.
Okay, it's year 4. So it's year 3. He's 3 seasons. Look it up. So he's going in 3 years. I swear to God, 3 seasons. Look it up, please.
It's same draft as Barkley, so it would have to be 3, wouldn't it?
Yes. So it's 3 seasons. Yeah. Thank you, Ted. Again, wrong. So then look at last year. 22 touchdowns, 21 picks. If it wasn't for Jameis Winston's amazing season, Baker Mayfield would have been in the top 3 for picks thrown last year. So now we get to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones' rookie season. Oh, my God. The Giants Might have found the franchise quarterback. I know he only got 3 wins, but his games were very impressive when he looked good. He played well, 24 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards passing in 12 games. Now you look at this year. He's taken a drastic step back. And the reason I also say this too, remember how high everybody was on Baker Mayfield after his going into a second season? Remember how high, and I'm talking about, but I'm also talking about fantasy purpose. If you want to go even a step further, Daniel Jones, everybody's like, oh, I love Daniel Jones this year. He's going to take a huge step, a huge leap in the right direction.
What made you think he was going to take a huge leap? Well, who was he throwing to? There was no Beckham. There was no Jarvis Landry. There was no David Njoku. There was no Nick Chubb on the team.
He never had.
Who are the Giants playmakers, bro?
Do you know?
Who are the Giants?
Are you listening to yourself? Do you know the game that Saquon Barkley got hurt was the first time that Daniel Jones had all his freaking weapons, and Ted wants to look at me like I got 3 freaking heads, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
Last year?
So shut your mouth right now, because I want Joe to almost cut you out.
It doesn't even make a difference.
My point is,
well, you told me yesterday that Golden Tate is old.
No, but I'm saying last year,
Shepard is not the number one.
Saying the weapons that he had. He never had a full set of weapons going into this season up until the Chicago game, and that lasted for only a quarter and a half. Baker and Daniel both had great rookie seasons. Everybody had high praise for them, but everything's going downhill since, and we're already jumping off of the Daniel Jones bandwagon, already the tank for Trevor. And don't look at me like,
what about Justin Herbert, who had Keenan Allen get hurt?
But am I crazy about what I just spoke about?
I don't think the reference of Baker Mayfield. I think you're on the right page. But I believe the reference of Baker Field is not because the expectation was he had 31 touchdowns.
If anything, Baker's had more pressure than Daniel Jones because of the fact that he's had all those weapons.
Yes, because he's had more weapons, and there's an expectation when you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and David Njoku and Jarvis Landry and all these, and then you have the offensive line.
I know what I'm talking about, but don't you think Daniel Jones had a lot of pressure too because of the fact that
they suck.
No, because he's trying to replace a Hall of Fame guy that never missed a start, was Mr. Liability for us, won us 2 Super Bowls.
There's people that couldn't wait for Eli to get off the field.
Well, I'm not one of those people. I'm just trying to make a point. You sound like the idiot Twitter fan.
Listen, I got
Twitter more.
Listen, you're the one that scrolls through Twitter all damn day and Instagram.
Joe, go ahead.
All right, listen. I see Jace Garcia wants to back Trev up, so Teddy, I got you here. Listen, let's talk about what's really going on.
You feel bad for him now.
We can make excuses all day for Daniel Jones and the offensive line, and there's no Saquon, and he hasn't had his weapons. But look around the league. Happens to everybody.
Yeah, of course.
And other teams are able to deal with it, so why can't the Giants? And again, look, we're not just talking about the 5 games so far this year. Yeah. We're talking about before Joe Judge got here, mostly the same group of guys, mostly the same results.
Since the end of Jerry Reese, I would say.
And you know, when you said effort earlier, I think what you meant was the defense. The defense has put in great effort week in and week out for the Giants, except for the San Francisco game where the wheels fell off the bus. Again, a situation where the Giants, were nearly doubled on time of possession. You got to beat who you're playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't play down a competition. I hate these arguments where, and Jace just popped in. We've been talking about this on John about the G-Man. There's too many excuses for Daniel Jones. If the turnover problem was the only problem he had, it would still be a significant problem.
Yeah, of course.
You can't turn the ball over every single game and expect to win. He hasn't played a clean game.
Is a problem. Listen, look up the statistics. I remember in college there was a statistical stat that when you're -1 in the turnover battle, you're going to lose 60% of the time, right? When you're -2, it's 75%. When you're -3, it's when you're always in the minus for turnover margin because you're not producing turnovers on the defensive side. Listen, great effort doesn't mean you have sacks, fumbles, interceptions, okay? You could still play great defense and not have that. But when you're quarterback, because you got to figure he's going to complete a pass, a receiver's going to fumble, a running back's going to fumble, so you're doubling it. I believe the Giants had an astronomical amount of turnovers last year. I guarantee if you cut the turnovers just in half on the New York Football Giants, The Giants would win 4 extra games a year. So that means when they were winning 3 games, they'd win 7. When they were 4, they would be 8. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm trying to say with Daniel Jones. He's taking.
I don't think I'm far off by saying that, though.
In a season that we all thought he would progress in the right direction of
You
taking
both had high hopes.
I think a lot of people had high hopes, man. He came. That's what I'm saying about the Baker. They both had great rookie seasons that made you believe they're going to come in and take the league by storm. The Giants found their franchise quarterback. Browns finally got a franchise quarterback. Took long enough.
Well, we've said that
but
about a lot
now
of
you
guys.
look at those years. You look at Baker Mayfield year 3. He's taken a step back that we're asking, can he win the Browns games? And that was one of the main questions this week. Do we trust Baker Mayfield?
We'll talk
in
about
year
that
3?
after.
We will. We're going to talk about that brief, about that AFC North, that great AFC North right now.
Hasn't that
But
been
then,
an
and
issue,
then
though,
Daniel,
with the
and then
NFL
Daniel
sophomore
Jones is the same thing. But and I didn't put Sam Darnold because I never thought Sam Darnold looked good since coming into the league.
There's always been a
whereas
sophomore
Baker
slump
Mayfield
sometimes.
impressed me and surprised me. Daniel Jones impressed me and surprised me my rookie year that I had high hopes. Now we're already saying tank for Trevor. It's like,
Can I?
That's what I'm
Joe,
saying.
Can I say one thing?
Hold on. First of all, let's be clear. We're not tanking for Trevor. We're tanking because we stink.
Yes.
It's just not a good.
And trying to scrape out 4 wins for what? So we could say we were 4-12. I would rather the Giants go 0-16 and have the number 1 pick. And I'm not even saying necessarily, Trevor, that it has to be Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. No.
I don't have any problem with taking that pick. If you had the number 1 overall pick, and if you truly in your heart evaluate this season and you're like, you know what, we see enough good things from Daniel Jones. He gets this offense better. We lost some close games late. This is our guy. Great. Take the 1 pick, trade it, get some assets, whatever you got to do. But for the Giants to win 5 games this year, I know that would thrill a lot of people. I can't for the life of me understand why.
Me and him talked about this the other day. Remember, Joe, on Tuesday, the post-game show, when Trevor left, he had to go to work, and we talked about it. And I said, this is what I said. And I said, I know this is tough to hear, but I said, winning between 5 and 8 games, it puts you in no man's land in the draft. And that doesn't mean you can't get a great prospect and you can't top out. But the difference between winning 5 and 8 games or winning 2 and 4 is the difference of getting – and I said to Joe, and Joe agreed with me, is getting a gold jacket guy, and I'm going to use Gettleman's word because that's the expectation of taking a top 4 guys. You're going to get a gold jacket guy. Now, to my point, and I didn't want to interrupt Joe, and I let him finish, and I got to ask you both this. Do you think – and it's a 2-part thing. Do you think the way we look at the Giants and Jets is because the teams are so bad that we want Trevor Lawrence to go on the team? Or is it because we look at guys like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and other guys that they come in their first season, they have immediate success? Well, hold on. Here's the problem. And I think it's a 2-part thing. There's immediate success from guys walking in this league day one.
I know what you're trying to say.
So is it because, hey, listen, Daniel Jones had 2 years. He sucks already. It's like, and you're like, wait, but he hasn't really proved. Well, here's other guys on the other end playing well immediately day one. Or is it that the Giants are so effing bad that you literally, that's why they stink? Because if Daniel Jones, say, was on the Colts, would Daniel Jones be a better quarterback if he was on the Colts than because he's on the Giants? I know that's.
I didn't know if that was another part.
Just talk.
Come on, it wouldn't be the same if I didn't break your stones. My goodness. To answer your question, the expectations, yes, are so high because you see the success of Patrick Mahomes. You see the success of Justin Herbert. You see the success of Joe Burrow. Tua is still a TBD. But then that's why you have these teams that are looking for quarterbacks and are struggling. And for anybody who wants to keep saying tank for Trevor and stuff and he's going to solve all of our issues, there's a reason why the Giants are 12-41 since 2017 and the worst team in the league. It's not just the quarterback. Trevor Lawrence isn't going to solve all the issues.
Yes, he will.
No.
Listen, when you're that damn good, you could solve a lot of issues.
Who knows if he's that damn good?
Listen, I'm telling you, Trevor, I think Herbert is
I didn't say Herbert. I'm talking Trevor Lawrence.
I know. I think Herbert. If you look at Herbert, he is Trevor Lawrence, just not Trevor Lawrence. They're both 6'6".
It makes it tough for the Giants because of the success of quarterbacks, young quarterbacks around the league that they just took one, and now he's kind of in that middle of the pack still. We don't know what we want to do.
Trevor Lawrence the other night had an all-out blitz on him. If you guys remember, in the red zone when they were going in, I believe it was his second pass and touchdown. He beat the blitz with his own legs, was able to scramble outside the pocket and throw a rocket pinpoint in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown.
Joe, what do you think?
I don't know if Daniel Jones can do that.
What do you think, Joe?
Listen, he's Danny Dimes for a reason. I don't have any questions about
Danny
his
Dimes,
ability to.
New York made it up after one effing game.
No. Listen, he could. I have no problem with him throwing the football.
Yeah,
And
Danny Dimes for 10 cents. I want quarters, nickel, quarters, and dollar bills.
well, here's what I will say to that. Look, even when he rolls out of the pocket or goes for one of those little 7-yard jaunts of his, he never looks good at it. He doesn't look as good to me as most other guys. I still see, to me, I see the Eli Manning feat where he seems that he doesn't want any pressure around him, and it's constant, so it's there, and you get a lot of that pitter patter of the feet. Those are things I don't like. Locking in on your first option and following the guy down the field and throwing the football to him and having it get picked off. We've seen that again and again and again over 17 games. So, listen, I like the guy. He's going to have to show a lot throughout the rest of the season if he wants to keep the job. It's easy for me to say right now. I'd like to see Jones come back in 2021. Get back to me in 10 games, though. Get back to me 11 games from now, and I'll give you a more honest assessment. If this team starts winning games, if I see less 3-and-outs, if I see a quarterback who understands the game, if I see a guy who starts turning the ball over less, a guy who stops zeroing in on receivers, who starts checking down better or going to his other options, then I'll say, hey, you know what? Let's use this top pick and go get him a weapon. But if at the end of the season, if they're 0-16 or 1-15 or 2-14, it is the same old, well, then, yeah. Look, I don't think, and I'll tell you what, Trevor Lawrence won't win the Super Bowl in 2021 for anybody, let alone the Giants. But
he might win them
5 games.
He might win some games.
That's a guy who, in and of itself, is a difference maker.
Yeah,
he's to me, he's a guy on another level, and it's no disrespect to Daniel Jones or to any of these other guys. There's not a lot of guys out there like Trevor Lawrence.
No. The closest one I can tell you is Justin Herbert. If you look at them, they're almost identical. They're both 6'6". They both have cannon for arms. They're both savvy, athletic, smart guys. The only difference is Justin Herbert doesn't have the long flowy hair like Trevor Lawrence. But if you look at them, you put them side by side, they're the same quarterback. The only thing is Trevor Lawrence is 29-1, and Oregon never really let Justin Herbert spread his wings. And now you're seeing him as a Chargers quarterback going, that guy is the real deal. Like, I know he's 1-4, but it's not because of his play. Well, sorry, he let them down last week against the Saints, and it should have been a game-winning field goal.
It's been a
the guy missed the field goal.
It's been a combination of everything, why the Giants have been bad and why they've been bad for the past 4
seasons. But you got to get the quarterback right.
Yes, they have.
That job's the most important one.
Well, that's why, Joe, I'm 100% on you. If the next 11 games he doesn't show any signs of improvement and gives us a reason to say, for us to say, okay, let's wait another year, get him one of the linemen, get him one of the receivers in this upcoming draft. Okay, then we got something to work with. But if he struggles down the stretch and he hasn't shown any improvement, then, yeah, you would be hard-pressed to find a way of not maybe finding Trevor Lawrence because you're going to be a top 2 pick then if you're that bad. So, realistically, Trevor Lawrence could be a possibility. I'm done with the Giants because we talk too much bad about the Giants. It's never any good. Maybe they'll win this week. We'll see what happens. It's an up for debate.
People are probably like, "Why do you talk so much about the Giants?"
I don't know because we are Giant fans. I'm sorry for.
It's not that I can't talk about good teams. I can talk about good teams.
But we try.
I'll talk about the Chiefs. I'll talk about the Chiefs.
Look, we have to talk about the Giants because we are Giant fans. Like we got to talk about the Yankees. We have to talk because we're New York guys. We have to talk about our teams. I know the Giants are terrible. If we were Jet fans, we talk about the Jets too. But we're not. So we don't talk about the Jets.
Thank God we're not.
Let's get into the good part of the NFL. The AFC North. We've been talking about the NFC East as the worst division maybe could be in the history of the game this season. But then you look at the AFC North, and I know everybody will say the NFC West is probably the best, but to me, I think the AFC North is, nasty. The reason I just like the AFC North is because of the style of play. They're all very similar. They run the football, tough, hard-nosed, nitty-gritty, ground and pound. They're going to beat you up for 60 minutes. But you look at all 3 of these teams, very similar. All got 3 good defenses. Offenses have been especially the Ravens, hasn't been as good. So the question to you guys, one's 4-1, or 2 are 4-1, and then there's an undefeated team, one of the last 4 remaining currently in the NFL. Who's the best team in the AFC North to you guys? Anyone can go.
I still think it's the Ravens because of the Lamar Jackson factor, that he is the X factor because there's no one like him. You can't explain him, and he can make up for so much that you could have a missed block and it won't make a difference. You could have 2 missed blocks. He could be the difference maker. Now, I still think the Steelers have the best defense of the 3 teams. But when you put the team around, I love Justin Tucker as a kicker, and that's huge. Their special teams in Baltimore is really good.
Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, and he's still really good kicker.
Really
and I'm not knocking him, but Justin Tucker's on a whole nother level. That's how I personally feel about him, okay? I trust Harbaugh. I do. I trust Harbaugh a little bit more than Tomlin. Sometimes I question Tomlin's, and that makes a difference, coaching and schematic. Yeah, the Steelers have the better
defense. How about the quarterback?
I trust
Lamar over
Big
Ben?
It's not that I trust Lamar over Ben, but I look at Lamar and the weapons and the offense and what they can do. I think it's much more savvy than the Steelers because I'm like, I know you're going to talk about this, but I thought if Le'Veon Bell went back to the Steelers and was a compliment back to Connor, I thought that could give them some extra juice. And having a dual running back, because I like what they have at receivers, I don't know if it's enough.
All right, him as a receiver
and the tight end. I don't really like their tight end. Where I look at Baltimore, I'm like, Lamar is a weapon, dual threat. They have speed in Marquise Brown. I know they don't have a big time receiver, and you know what? Watch out for Antonio Brown. If they're in that close to lose another game or two, and Antonio Brown comes off suspension, it could be a great steal. Listen,
you didn't say that cancer.
Marquise Brown is his cousin. He has worked out with Lamar. Listen, we've seen crazier things.
For God's sakes, Baltimore, if you want to be in a better position, don't sign the man.
Listen, if he can help your team, you sign him.
He can help you for 1 week, and then if he doesn't get the ball.
And they have a really good defense, too. So I trust Baltimore. If I was ranking them, I trust Baltimore 1. I trust Steelers 2. And then the Browns because of the Baker Mayfield thing. But
you're out of your damn mind.
Listen, I know I'm crazy, but it can happen. And if it happens, why should you be shocked? Right? We've seen crazier things, man.
Joe?
I'll say this. Until I see Pittsburgh play Kansas City, I'll put Kansas City ahead of Baltimore now.
No, he's just saying the division.
No, the division.
He's just saying with
No, I understand that. That's what I mean. I mean to say in the AFC North, look, we know how good the Ravens are, but we know where they're capped.
Yeah.
Okay? So within that division, I'm saying, just looking at those 4 teams, and look, it's easy to count the Bengals out given where they're at, but I think this team could win some games too and get competitive. And I think when you look at the next couple of seasons, I think that Pittsburgh has especially when Big Ben moves on, they have to wonder where they're going to fall into that pack because Cleveland seems like they've got a good young nucleus. Baltimore's got a really solid all-around team. Where will that leave Pittsburgh if Cincinnati suddenly becomes the 3rd best team in that division?
And Pittsburgh really hasn't beaten anyone. Go look at their schedule. They have not been. They've been up on the NFC East if you go look at it.
This is a big year for Pittsburgh because this might be Pittsburgh's best last chance with Ben.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Because I think it's just like the Buccaneers. This is the one chance where I think next year you're not going to get a bigger, better Ben than this year. And I don't think Tom Brady's going to be a better quarterback next year either. Watch out for Ray Rice to get signed.
Hey, joking.
I know. Jace, I love the joke.
Funny.
So remember how I said, but all these 3 teams are very similar. I got some stats for you. All these offenses are in the same range. Baltimore's actually ranked last out of the 3. But they're all in top 10 rushing yards per game.
Interesting.
The Browns are 1st.
I'm not surprised.
Steelers are 3rd. And the Ravens are 8th. Also, Steelers and Ravens, top 10 total defense currently. The turnover ratio, they're all inside the top 10. And for the Browns, it's their first 4-game winning streak since 2009 and could go 5 straight for the first time since a guy named Bill Belichick in 1994 led him to 5 straight wins. So you look at all 3 of these teams, you really can pick either one. The quarterback, Baker still has his trust issues throughout the league. Ben, I can also –
would you trust Ben?
I can also agree to the point that they haven't really played anybody yet, so I want to see how they play a big-time matchup this week. And then the Ravens, kind of taken a step back as well offensively.
Well, Lamar his rushing has gone down in half. We looked at Colin. You were using the restroom. His rushing last year was 90 yards per game. Now it's
if I had to pick,
47.
I really do like the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. What they're going. I think.
Do you trust Ben?
Hold on. I think.
Don't think so.
No, I do. I say it better than you sometimes. My point is, Chase Claypool could be a really, really big factor for this team. You know how Ben and all these quarterbacks like big-time receivers. He's a big athletic receiver, and I loved him at Notre Dame. I loved him when they drafted him. It was a steal.
He ran the 4.4.
Oh, he was a monster. He had a great pro day, combine as well. He was a monster, and he really showed on display last week. If he gets – oh, man, that's scary. You already know how good that defense is. That defensive line is nasty. That linebacking crew is nasty. The secondary is up and down. I'll take Ben over Baker and Lamar for trust. I'll take that, yes, because I know what he's been able to do, and it just so happens he's won 2 Super Bowls. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really love what they're doing. Like I said, if they could get Claypool, keep going with this offense, because Deontay Johnson has been struggling with injuries this year. If you can get him, Claypool, and Johnson on help with Juju, woo, that could be a scary team going in the AFC. So I'm going with the Steelers. You went with the Ravens, and you went with the Browns?
No, he's going with the Ravens too.
Did you go with the Ravens?
I'm going with the Steelers.
Boy.
All right.
I think the Steelers. I think the Steelers could well be the best team in this division. And like I said, I think the fact that this is their last best chance, I think you got a motivated team. And again, I know they haven't played anybody yet, but you got to have all the confidence in the world when you've dispatched everyone you've seen so far.
And they have the team that can match up against the Chiefs. Now, I think the secondary would still be a little bit of an issue with their corners, but they can rush 4 and get to the quarterback. And if you noticed anything about the Patriots-Chiefs game this year is you can't blitz Mahomes. You have to be able to get pressure with 3 or 4 guys.
Do we all have the Steelers winning this week? Quickly?
I do, because I don't trust the Browns.
Okay.
I don't trust the Browns yet. But no, listen. This is the reason why we take the Steelers, because you don't trust the Browns. If the Browns really truly want to get the respect of their overall people outside of their fan base and their organization, these are games they have to win. Yep. They have to win. Because if you watched the game last week against the Colts, when they were running the football earlier, they were dominating the game. What happened was in the second half, they turned the game into letting Baker Mayfield throw the ball more, and that game stayed closer than it really needed to be. And
Joe, what do you got? No, I agree with you.
And that's on my last point. I think the Steelers
I got the Steelers too.
But I still think this division is a 2-man race with the like Rizzer said, it's a 2-man race with Ravens, Steelers, and the Browns. If they continue to play well and progress, and Baker Mayfield, they can get the wild card position, especially because there's an extra team this year.
Yes. Run the football, play action pass with this team. This team has the weapons.
Listen, the Steelers might not be seed to get a bye.
I don't know if Beckham's going to play because he was sent home with an illness. It's not, as they said, non-COVID related, but he's still not at practice.
Number one seed. So
we'll see what happens. Speaking of the AFC, let's get into the AFC picture right now, because the AFC coming into this year I thought was going to be really a 2-team race, but now you got the emergence of the Steelers. Now you got the emergence of the Browns. The Bills. I mean, I know they got shellacked by the Tennessee Titans.
That won't happen again.
That's true. But the Tennessee Titans right now are number 1 seed and undefeated, currently one of the 4 last.
They're over the Steelers? And the Steelers.
They're number 1 seed.
I
sent you both actually before the show.
I didn't see it.
Go on Instagram right now and look. The current playoff format and who is the number 1 seed. You got Seattle and you got the Titans.
You sent it to my thing?
Yes, I sent it on Instagram, so check it out. And it's pretty,
Okay.
So as I'm talking, so the AFC.
Do you want to know what the playoff picture would be right now?
I just told you. I sent you. Why would I?
No, did you say it to them? Yes. Raiders, Steelers, which that would be a fast.
I don't need every explanation
Browns,
of every game.
Chiefs, and then the Bills, Ravens. That's a great 4 or 5.
My point is that coming into this season, we all thought the NFC was going to be like, top to bottom. The Saints, you had the Rams, the Seattle, Tampa Bay. You had Arizona, Green Bay, Dallas, Philly, just the Minnesota as well. Then you look at the AFC, it's kind of like a 2-team race, but boy, oh boy, am I wrong about that. The AFC has been lights out. They've been really good, and then they've been the better conference. You only got really 2 great teams in the NFC, and it's the Packers and the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't think the Seattle – can I make a remark before you get – I don't think Seattle's a great team. I just think that their quarterback is playing at an extreme elite level. And because their defense is not good. Their defense is awful. They give up almost 400 yards passing. They're one of the worst defenses in football.
400. They're giving up almost 500 yards in
and you look at the game,
it's the worst in history right now.
I made a comment, and you totally doubted me last week. But I said, don't be surprised if Kirk Cousins in Minnesota goes in and beats Seattle, because they should have.
Yeah.
You should have kicked the field goal and went up by 8, because worst case scenario, you can't lose.
And a team that needs wins is not winning.
And we've seen it last year. They went on Sunday Night Football, and Kirk Cousins, when there was fans in the stands, led them on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football and beat Russell Wilson last year. And every time Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson played, there's great games. Going back from the Wisconsin-Michigan State game when it was a Hail Mary pass by Kirk Cousins, I believe it was, and they called it a touchdown in the end zone.
Yeah.
Knocked Russell Wilson off.
I do remember that.
With that being said, I think right now, there's only really one good team in the NFC, and that's the Packers right now. And we're going to see how good they are when they play Tampa Bay.
I can't wait for that matchup. It's the 4:30 game on Fox. It's going to be great. Also,
I don't know why people seem to think this game is as hyped up as it is. I don't see how the Packers won't roll the Bucks
because it's Brady versus Rodgers. Anytime you get those two to meet, it's only the third time they're meeting in the regular season.
Here's the other thing: the last time they were supposed to Rodgers was out.
So
remember, Packers.
This is a rare occurrence right now that we get to see Rodgers playing at an all-time high peak right now, and then Brady, who's been kind of up and down. He's had the great game against Los Angeles, didn't know it was 4th down last Thursday night against the Bears.
Here's the other thing. Go look at Tampa Bay's roster.
It's going to be a huge, Joe, just because of the names that are in the game.
But go look at the Tampa Bay roster.
Baby,
they have been hit offensively with major injuries. They have not been healthy whatsoever this whole season. It's Mike Evans who's dealing with a hamstring injury.
Chris
Godwin's been out. Leonard Fournette's been hurt. They've had injuries on the offensive line. Their defense has played great. Go look up their defense. Their defense has played great going back until week 12 last season. Yep. So I think the biggest matchup is not Brady versus Rodgers. It's the Tampa Bay defense versus Aaron Rodgers and the offense of the Green Bay Packers, because we've seen they're the number one offense. They're averaging almost 40 points a game. Rodgers has 13 touchdowns, no picks, over 300 yards. He's playing at an MVP All-Pro level, maybe the best he's ever played. And this team is rolling. This should be a great game. And don't be shocked who wins.
Oh, I won't be. Of course not. They're both very talented teams. These are two of the better teams in the NFC, and I expect it to be a full-on, good old-fashioned slobber knocker, quote-unquote, JR.
I think there's something to putting a hodgepodge of rejects together as your offense, which is ultimately what the Buccaneers have. You had a cast-off in Fournette, a cast-off, believe it or not, in Tom Brady. That's what your offense is. It's a hodgepodge of guys who don't know the offense.
Chris Godwin is an all-pro receiver.
Listen, I understand the great talent that they have. That's fantastic. You can give me the greatest receiver in the world. If I don't know the system, I'm going to be 3-2 5 games in, and I might not know what down it is. Because
they might be the
not only do I not know the offense, but I'm old and I forget things. And I think that's where Tom Brady's at. There's unless Aaron Rodgers has his worst game of the year, where he has one of those 255-yard passing games with like 1 touchdown and 3 picks. Unless that happens, the chances of the Bucks beating the Packers is 0.
Joe, you want to shake on that, Joe?
I'm not making no
bet. Joe, let's shake on.
All right, I'm a witness. We got one pizza. We got a pizza.
I've never bet with Joe.
We got a 1 Pizza House chicken parm on the table.
No.
We're doing something different.
He's getting modern pizza.
And what is Joe? So he's
going to come down to here, and I'm going to get modern pizza for us.
Okay, so that's well, modern pizza's on. How about some parties? Can't pick.
I can do whatever he wants.
So that's the bet.
It's a long season. There's a lot of places to go.
He's picking Tampa.
I'm gonna take Tampa.
So you just said all that talent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, if you didn't know, if you've been living under a rock, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions, just added a very, very nice toy to that already stacked offense, as Joe called it, Hodges rejects.
No,
Joe, Hodgepodge.
Hodgepodge rejects. So are they
Hodgepodge rejects? That's good.
Are they Hodgepodge rejects too? Part 2. So Le'Veon Bell goes to the Jets, and his short tenure is almost. I mean, him and Belichick.
This was
amazing.
It
was just a terrible decision on his part, just as bad as the Jets giving him the contract. I mean, good for and then the Jets.
If any players could have learned anything from Le'Veon Bell is when you're with a great organization,
don't leave.
Stay.
Don't leave, you idiots.
Don't leave.
Don't leave.
And that's why when I posted the thing last night, I said, "Do you think it's a good deal when he signed with the Kansas City?" And some people are like, "Oh no, he's be a cancer." No, you don't get it. I'm not trying to be mean that you don't really get it. But here's the thing. I brought up the Randy Moss thing. When he went to New England from Oakland, he was not even trying on plays. Remember, he wasn't even running routes.
He gave up.
Then he went to New England, and miraculously, he had 22 touchdowns. Because when you're
23, get it right.
Who cares?
No, it doesn't matter. It's in the record books. According to our Madden book, he's not.
When you look at where he's going, okay, he's not going to have to be the guy. He understands where he's going. He's going to be the great role player. He's going to be great in the red zone.
Role player?
Yes, because here's the thing. Clyde Edwards is still going to be the starter.
You got a weapon like Le'Veon, who's still not even 30 years old.
Listen, Le'Veon Bell, 3 years ago aside, was the best running back in football. He was what McCaffrey is now, okay? He was the 1,000 guy. He was averaging 4.9 yards a carry when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is he that same guy? No. But here's what they lost when they lost Damian Williams in the offseason because he decided not to play because of COVID. They lost a goal line back, and that's what Le'Veon Bell can be. He can be that goal line back down in the red zone. He can catch passes. Imagine having Imagine having him and Aaliyah in the back. No, because you're not going to wear out Clyde's Edwards, okay? Because he's never whatever. You know who I'm talking about. You get the point. I don't correct you every single time
you do.
All right? But this is a rookie. You want him fresh in December and January, not in October, all right? He's never had to carry a full load. He played on the greatest offense last year, and he wasn't expected to carry the ball 30 times a game. And that's what made him great last year. It's going to make him great this year in that rookie player.
Joe, don't you think that's a knock on Le'Veon Bell as a goal line guy?
But it's not just goal line.
Look, I know he hasn't had 2 good years. Well, let's remember who he was on, what team he was on. Going down maybe as an 0-16 team this season, a strong possibility. Had no offensive line, had no weapons. Their quarterback's been banged up and been can't stay on the field. Their coach is a moron. Never got along with the coach.
Saquon Barkley had negative yards and he was on the Giants.
But that's my point. But my point. So what?
I'm agreeing with you. No,
I know. So is he a goal line back? You can't knock a guy from being on a franchise that has been so as nice as I could say an atrocity for quite some time. Now he's going to the champs, a team that Andy Reid loves backs like this. Oh my God. This is if you're just a fantasy owner, it's a match made in heaven. You're gonna love this. And this offense is already one of the best offenses in the game. Just took a whole nother step into an offense that is going to be good luck.
I said this. Imagine having Tyreek Hill and Hardman on the outside, Kelsey in the slot with Le'Veon Bell and Edwards in the backfield.
Come on.
Le'Veon Bell is going to be asked to touch the ball between 10 and 15 times a game, depending on the game plan and the game, which is perfect. Because he's gonna be able to make plays in the backfield. And think about the offense he's going to with Eric Bieniemy. They're going to use him in so many facets of the way, and it's only going to make that
scary.
Team. Oh yeah, and I forgot Sammy Watkins.
Joseph.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this signing, and how much better can this Chiefs go with the signing of Le'Veon? Yeah, the Chiefs go.
Team go.
Chiefs team.
It's funny. I feel like this signing, it actually annoys me a little bit. I hate these trades where this is like the rich getting richer.
They just released them, and they picked them up in free agent for a 1-year deal for no money.
That's not what I meant. I meant when a guy
everybody too.
What I mean was when a guy forces himself out of a team, and that's what happened here with Le'Veon Bell. And if I'm the Chiefs or any team and I'm thinking about bringing this guy in, I mean, his conduct, being a malcontent as he was while he was in New York, not producing and still complaining somehow, which to me, that's insane. I look at a guy like Eli Apple gets cut by the Giants. He gets to go to play for the Saints and almost go to a Super Bowl. I don't like that.
Norris Jenkins did the same thing for the Giants, and he went to the Saints.
I don't like that. This is great for the Chiefs. This will be fantastic. How long will it be until Le'Veon Bell starts complaining that he wants the ball more?
He won't.
How long until that happens? You're without Sammy Watkins for a few days? How quick is it going to take for Bell to do what he's done everywhere he goes and cause problems? Because to me, that's what happens here.
The reward is greater than anything else. Because he knows that now on a team like this, you have a real possibility
Super Bowl.
of being in on
Of
Super
course.
Bowl Sunday, playing Super Bowl Sunday, having a significant role on Super Bowl Sunday, and going for a repeat.
And if I make one synonym or common thought is, this is like being in the NBA, where you're a veteran player, where you've earned all enough money, and you go to a team like the LA Lakers, like they've been rumors where Chris Paul might go to the LA Lakers because that's where he wants to play and go back to LA. Well, you've done everything you needed to do as a player. At the end of the day, you want to win championship. Remember Shane Battier went to the Heat way, and Ray Allen because they wanted to win championships. Or when DeMarcus Cousins goes to – you want to listen.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss went to the Patriots. He worked himself out of Oakland. Now, they didn't win the Super Bowl because the great New York Giants knocked them off. But he went there, and it was a great success. And you see this a lot at the end of guys' careers where it's like, I just want to win and get a ring, and then that's it. And they're willing to take the league minimum just to go on a winning team because they've got everything they've needed. They've had the individual success. They've made the money. At the end of the day, they want the team success in the ring. And I think Le'Veon Bell understands that. Hey,
but sometimes you have to look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, despite all the personal or individual success, why was my team not good? And was it me? Could it possibly have been something to do with me?
Not with the New York Jets. If it was another team, I would totally be with you, Joe. And I think you're hitting on something. But I think what we've seen the New York Giants and Jets be the last few years, it's almost indescribable how bad they are. Listen, I thought the Giants would be much better this year. Every year I thought, the Giants will be better. Then the Giants will be better. Then the Giants.
And they've got 16.
And they've been getting worse, not better. And that hurts me because I'm like, all right, we got a left tackle, we got this, we got a quarterback, we got some weapons. Barkley, line, things are fixed, defense. And every year, remember you and me and Bernard had this 2 years ago. The Giants are going to win 7 or 8 games this year. Last year, what they win? Well, the Giants will win 5 or 6 games this year.
We're going to be finding another.
I had the Giants going 7 and 9 this year. The Giants would be lucky if they win 5 games.
We're going to be finding another GM soon. So back to drawing board, square one again. Quick, Chiefs or Bills, because that's a Monday night game because of due to the COVID results of Tennessee and everything getting mixed up. So this is a Monday night game. This was supposed to be last night's Thursday night game. We would have been talking about it today, but because of the COVID, like I said, and the Bills playing on Tuesday, they got a Monday night game. So quick, Chiefs-Bills, big matchup in the AFC. Both, we'll see what happens. I mean, let's see how good the Chiefs are against a dominant defense like the Bills.
Well, they're both coming off.
The Bills are coming off a really, really bad loss to the Tennessee Titans.
The Chiefs lost that's a bad loss
to the Raiders. So, who we got? Bills, Chiefs, quick.
I just think the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes and offense is just too damn good. And it's nothing knock on the Bills and Josh Allen. I just think if Le'Veon Bell maybe went to the Bills, I'd give them a little more credit because you made the move for Diggs. I just don't know if they have a running back good enough. Okay. And that was one of the teams that they had speculated that Bell would go to, and then the Bills pulled the plug on him. So,
okay, Joe.
Look, Bills had a terrible defensive performance. I still think the Chiefs are the best. I mean, I think they're the best team in. I'm going to go with the Bills, though, in an upset. I think Josh Allen, even though they lost, didn't have his best game. I think Josh Allen has a huge night against the Chiefs, and they pull out a tight one.
I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, too. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I love that defense. I don't see – that defense is way too good to a performance they had on Tuesday night to get – shellacked by a team
should we shake on this, boys? Double or nothing?
No, to a team that didn't play for a couple. But think about it, that hasn't played in a couple weeks due to COVID, and the way they came out Tuesday night and beat down on a really good Buffalo Bills team who's played really well. Josh Allen, we all thought at the point was maybe top 3 MVP. I'm going to go with the Bills. The Chiefs. This is a toss-up game, but I like the Bills because of that defense. Don't know how much Le'Veon's going to be. I don't think he's playing.
He's not.
No, he's not playing.
But guess what? Do you know
who's going to throw a farther ball is the more interesting question. Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? Joe is not going against Josh.
Do you know Le'Veon Bell in 2 weeks plays against the Jets?
Oh, yeah. His first game will be against the New York Jets.
It could be the Broncos next week.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. He's going to be playing the Jets. He's going to have about 1 million yards. Let's get over to some baseball to close out the show because we are on the verge of a possible unlikely World Series. And Ted asked me last night, can you believe the Braves and Raves? And I said with a simple reply, it's 2020. Are you surprised by anything right now? Am I wrong?
No.
Wait, hold on. We talked about this on Tuesday's show. We were talking about baseball ratings and what would be the most ideal situation. And we said Dodgers.
Well, the NBA Finals had an all-time low ratings. the baseball playoffs, if it's going en route to what it is right now currently with the results, 3-2 both or 3-1, the Braves Rays, the ratings are not going to look good, I can only imagine. Won't look as pretty as it would if it was Los Angeles versus Houston.
Tampa versus the Braves. But other than true baseball fans, and maybe us because of our talk show, how many people are going to be watching the World Series compared to if it was Houston and the Dodgers?
Here's my thing.
Well, it's also about 100 miles between those two cities, and I don't think anywhere outside the 200-mile radius will anyone care.
And maybe the people that are in the stadium area where they can go to the game and watch.
Here's what I want to ask.
Hold on real quick. I talked to a Mets fan earlier today, really good dude, and he said between the Nationals last year, the fact that almost everybody in the NL East made the postseason this year, and the Braves on their way to go into a World Series, everyone's won a title since the Mets last won one in '86. It's pretty frustrating if they added playoff spots. You were the favorite going in, and you're probably going to watch another division opponent win another World Series.
And that's
they're the real deal.
The Braves are the real deal. I wanted to talk about. I didn't know what we wanted to start with because both series are really fascinating right now currently. We have a 3-2 matchup with the Rays.
I want to start with the Dodgers.
Okay, hold on. The Rays. Don't know what's going to happen with the Rays. Are they really going to blow a 3-0 lead? The last time we saw it, we already know what happened. And then you got the Dodgers. The team that everybody predicted, maybe other than the Yankees this year, this is going to be the team that's going to win. They're finally going to get over the hump. They're finally going to do it. They are 27 outs away from being once again eliminated with not a World Series ring. My biggest thing is the narrative of Clayton Kershaw in the postseason. I think it's forever cemented, written. He's not a postseason pitcher. He's never going to succeed in the postseason. It showed last night. I really thought the Dodgers, especially coming out in Game 3, or was it Game 4?
Yeah,
no, it was Game 3. Going out to that huge lead, jumping out and seeing the offense and what we expected by the Dodgers. Here we go. They're going to start rolling. And the Braves come back and go big last night. Marcell Ozuna is shaping up to get a fat contract. He's going to be a Pablo Sandoval. He's going to be a Carlos Pavano with a great postseason that's going to get the massive contract. And then you see they're 27 outs away from going to their first World Series in over 20 seasons. It's fascinating to see how the Braves, who we all really thought this is what the Dodgers would be doing to this team, complete opposite. My, oh my, the Dodgers, again, 8 straight years possible, we're talking right now, could be on the verge of being eliminated without a ring, guys.
The Yankees and the Dodgers, same approach here, right?
Yeah.
You try to go out, you get some quality starting pitching, you load up on a bullpen, and you try to bash your way with homers to a World Series. And the Dodgers have found the same thing that the Yankees have found. It's hard to beat elite pitching and teams that know how to score runs. And when I say score runs, I mean they know how to scratch 3 or 4 runs in a game without extra base hits. And you look at both of these teams, the Braves and the Rays. Both those teams not only can do that, but they can also kill you with the long ball too. They've got enough guys in their lineups where they can do that. And so if your game plan is to commit these teams and try to bash their brains in with home runs, you're probably going to lose. You know what I mean? You may out-home run. They'll probably outscore you, though. And again, when you look at the bullpen, you look at the pitching, Brian Forster was with him a bunch of times during this season. Never in a million years did he see the Braves doing this.
Shout out to Brian. I mean,
they just didn't seem to have the enough starters. Soroka went down. The season seemed all but lost, and it's just worked out. It's been amazing. And same thing with the Rays. I mean, you look at that team, lost so many starting pitchers. They lost so many bullpen pieces, such depth. That's the way you win. You gotta be able to scratch runs across on the nights where you're not putting up 10, 12 runs. The Yankees saw it firsthand. The Dodgers have seen this over the last few years. You need a better game plan. And both of these two GMs in New York and LA have to realize, the DJ LeMahieu's of the world are the guys that make a difference in these games. It's not the big bats.
2 for 14 last night with no home runs, no steals, no extra base hits, no nothing. And this is
it's inexcusable.
This is the guy you made the
That's what happened. That's what happens when you rely on power hitters. Power hitters are streaky. And if the week that they yes. Yes, he's a great all-around hitter. He's a power hitter like everybody else. And just the fact that you say he's 2 for 14 with no home runs, you're counting on the long ball.
It's just
you wanted
remarkable.
to see 4 for 14 with 2 homers and a double at this point. You're not getting that.
Well,
Everybody is 3 hits, Joe. 3 hits.
Sure. I'll give you another example. Look at the Minnesota Twins. Couple of postseasons in a row, and it didn't last long. And why? All the home runs they hit doesn't make up for the fact that they don't score runs otherwise, doesn't make up for a suspect rotation, and doesn't make up for a suspect bullpen. If you don't have all of those elements working for you, and when you're head-to-head with a team with a great bullpen, and you're just trying to rely on the long ball, you get down 2 or 3 runs, forget it. You're solo shotting your way back. It's never going to happen.
It really is fascinating to see right now what's going on in the NLCS. I think
if I'm the Rays, I'd be a little worried.
I think to myself, yeah, the Yankees have struggled and they haven't been able to win a World Series since 2009. But can you imagine being a Dodgers fan? You got to remember the Yankees had a tough period of kind of going into rebuild, getting the younger core. They still had those down years. They were still winning, but they had the down, not years that we expected. The Dodgers have won NL West championships after NL West championships, 8 straight freaking years, and have not won one World Series throughout that. So when I think the Yankees, just know that the Dodgers have won 8 straight divisions and have not even gotten to win a World Series. So I'm not as upset about it. It sucks that our team's not in, but when you look at the Dodgers, this was supposed to be –
the 2 better teams right now are winning.
This was supposed to be their season, and it's just not shaping up. Let's get into the ALCS now. Because, boy, oh boy, we got a little – I mean, Tampa, what's going on here right now? 3-0, you're looking like this is it. Tampa's going to sweep. See you later. Thank God. Houston's gone. All right. Now we're at 3-2. Now we're in Game 6. Can we have a World Series matchup tonight? Or are we going to have a Game 7 and a Game 6 in both respective leagues? I don't know what's going on with Tampa. The pitching is struggling. Carlos Correa, big home run last night.
No, the pitching hasn't struggled. That was a great – piece of hitting.
Don't throw a fastball to him.
He knew the fastball was coming.
Killing the fastball.
So was George Springer. George Springer.
So don't throw it to him.
First pitch at the bottom of the first.
Throw breaking balls.
It's a home run. It doesn't matter. These guys are getting hot. Altuve's playing much better. Dusty Baker's showing faith.
Gets me nervous.
I put it in the thing in our box the other day. He moved after Altuve, whatchamacallit, had a bad game there. What does he do? He moves him in the lineup down to the 3rd position. He comes through in the first inning, hits a leadoff home run. He also
doesn't take freaking brains to do that stuff. This is why I get so pissed off with Aaron Boone. It doesn't take brains to make moves.
And he kept Greinke in when the bases were loaded with 1 out, and he went to him and he said, he looked him in the eye, and he knows that Greinke's going to be back next year, and Dusty Baker wants to be the manager next year, and he wants to have his players have faith in him. He lived up because if he's going to get beat, he's going to get beat with his best pitcher, not some guy he brought in from the bullpen because the analytic guy.
Yep.
He's a guy that comes straight from the heart and sees it how it is. And it worked out. Listen, you can knock the call if it goes wrong, and we always say that. If the guy hits a base hit, you question it. If he doesn't.
But I like that his confidence level with Greinke, his confidence level with making decisions like that is just – you see the experience, but it's just far more
feeding off on the players.
In the sense of where Boone, it seems like it's a nervousness that he has to make a move or something like that. It's just always something else.
Not
hanging around.
It's just there's
hanging around him. The analytics. Dusty Baker's an analytic guy too.
No.
He's not.
He's old school, bro. This is old school guy that sees it how he sees it, and he calls it like it is.
I know he uses some.
And at the end of the day,
not like the Yankees.
Listen, the Rays could easily win this game and close this out and win 4-1 tonight. And they're the better team, anyways. They're the better pitching staff. They're the better defensive team. They're the better hitting team. Well, not the hitting team. That's maybe the only thing they're not better at. But they haven't been as clutch as they were.
I like that they kept Presley in. I mean, he was in a tough situation last night. They kept Presley in and let him go.
Trevor, you know what I love about Dusty Baker is they hand him the analytics and he looks it over and he reads it and they explain what all the math is and then he goes, "Gonna go with my gut."
Bam. That's
gonna go with my gut on this one because that's what I've been doing for 75 years. I'm just gonna continue to trust what my eyes are seeing and what my brain is telling me. It's a good way to manage. It really is.
But too bad we got freaking analytics that are ruining baseball. And right now, the Yankees probably could have a World Series if it wasn't for damn analytics.
There's a place for analytics in baseball. There's a place for it. Every conversation should include analytics.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't be the answer and the problem. It can't be both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look at, I'll tell a quick story. My dad lied to me when I was a kid, and my dad told me he played baseball for the Philadelphia Phillies. Mike Schmidt broke his leg, and he lost his job and never played again. And I grew up believing that. My Little League coach, my first Little League coach, I was 8 years old, said he needed an assistant, and I was like, my dad will do it. He played for the Phillies. I didn't find out for about 6 years that it was a lie. Doesn't matter. My dad went to the library after getting the assistant coach job, and he bought Baseball for Dummies, and he basically learned. Within 2 years, my dad became the head, like that guy left, and my dad became the head coach. My dad had two guys,
That's awesome.
two assistant coaches. There was one guy, two Hispanic fellas that were very different. One guy worked in a machine shop. He played ball. He was a gut guy.
Mhm.
I know this seems crazy, but like put this kid in that's never hit before, and you're like, no, sir. And it would work. The other guy was actually our accountant, also a Hispanic guy, longtime baseball guy, real clean cut, always by the numbers. And the two would sit by my dad, and they would give my dad, do this, do this, do this, do this. And they would make their arguments based on, I got a gut feeling, or, hey, look, the numbers say this. And at the end of the day, my father would have to decide which guy he's going to go with.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
We won the championship that year. We went 15-1. We won the championship. And so, yeah, and it's funny. There were a few times I was the starting catcher on the team, where my dad came out and told me the decision he had made, only for me to flat out reject the move, send him back to the dugout to tell his two coaches he got overruled. But that's the way we did things. It happened a couple of times where my dad was going to pull a pitcher, and I was like, get back in the dugout. We're going to get out of this thing. Both times I set my dad back, we got the last out of the inning in the next at-bat. But that was the way we took into account everything. Right up to the catcher telling the manager, no, he's fine, we'll get out of this inning. That was the way that we did it. So, I mean, like I said, I've been around where you've got an analytics guy, and you've got difference, and that's good. It can only help to have more information. But if you're just relying on the information and you think that's going to solve all your problems, it doesn't. And that's where the Yankees are at right now. Sure, a lot of teams I think are at right now.
Well, to end it like this, what's your prediction? Do the
Do we
Braves
have
do
a
the
wor-
Braves and
Do we have a
Rays
World
go-
Series tonight? Do we have a World Series
No,
matchup?
close.
Do we have a World Series matchup
Tampa
tonight?
Bay is too good to blow a 3-0 lead to Houston. If you go back to the last blown 3-0 baseball lead, everybody knows who we're talking about. The Red Sox were not only favored in that series,
I could see the Astros pushing to 7 though. I
don't think so. Look at tonight's matchup is Blake Snell and Framber Valdez. I'm going to take Snell all day in this one.
Valdez last night. For them, that's a good sake.
Valdez has pitched really well.
They didn't
He
have to
certainly has 3.57 ERA. Solid young southpaw. This is a big moment.
Oh yeah,
This is a huge moment for Framber Valdez.
I got the Dodgers winning tonight to force a game 6. I expect the Braves to close it out though and win in 6. And I got the Rays winning tonight in 6. So I'll have the Rays. And as I said, I got the Braves going forward in the World Series. It's not the matchup everybody was expecting this year. But if anything, this year wants to tell us. I think the unexpected has shown us that.
I think the Dodgers have enough fight in them to squeeze another win out of them. And I believe the Rays are like, all right, you had your fun, Astros. Tonight we shut it down and we win in a close battle, because if you look at the games, all the games have been pretty close.
They've been tough.
And
They've been going late into the games, like
if you look at the Braves-Dodgers series, it's either been all in on one side or all in on the other. It hasn't even been close.
That's why I think I feel the Dodgers win tonight and force a game 6.
I think there's a better chance the Dodgers come back and win this series than there is for Houston down 3-2 to come back and win this series. Because for me, the Dodgers are a better team than the Braves.
They haven't played like it though, Joe.
They definitely haven't. It's why they're down 3-1. But if the Dodgers the Dodgers could reel off 3 in a row.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't faze me in the slightest. I don't think Houston has enough to come back on I think Tampa's that much better than Houston, and I think Tampa was that much better than the Yankees, that I think if you played that series with the Yankees over again 10 times, I think the Rays probably win 8, maybe 7 of those series.
What's the regular season? 8 out of 10?
Yeah, well, listen, Boone and Cashman in their year-end press conference, I thought this was really interesting. Brian Cashman said they were better during the regular season, they were better in the playoffs, and they were better in the series. We lost to a better team. That's the cold, hard reality of things. Brian Cashman gets it. He's there. Yankee fans need to get there as well. Tampa Bay doesn't suck.
Yeah. No,
this is not the 98 Tampa Devil Rays. This is a different team with a different makeup and a different mindset, and it works.
Franchise. It's not it's
with
not
a great manager, by the way.
That 100% agree, Joe. They were the better team all year. They were the better team in the postseason. I said this: the Yankees were the more talented team, but the Rays were the more complete team, and it showed in the series. That's why That's why they're one game away from a World Series appearance for the first time since 2008. Or no, yeah, it was 2008, right? Against the Phillies. 2000. Okay, so we'll see what happens. It's been a crazy year. It's been crazy in sports. And it's shown right now in the MLB. We'll see what happens. A big weekend of sports, college football, massive games, Alabama, Georgia. Joseph, thank you as well. We appreciate it as always.
Always, Joe. Oh, Joe, go Bucks, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Go Bucks.
Thanks,
Catch you guys next.
Guy. But like I said, a huge weekend in the NFL, a huge weekend in college football, massive games, a World Series possibility matchup coming very soon right now. So let's see what happens. But all in all, sports is high, sports is great, and we are loving it.
And if you, like I said earlier in the show, if you are in the New Haven area and looking for landscaping, call a few good guys.
Landscaping, fall cleanup, all of that, because it is getting into fall, even with the snow coming sooner or later. Snow removal, a few good guys as well. We are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City as well as YouTube. Like I said, the first order of hoodies have been purchased. So we're making second ones. If anybody is still interested, please message one of us and we will get to you. They are going for $30. Blue or black are the choices. Like I said, Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.